Okay, so let's have a look at sections. Let's get started by pressing add, and then let's pick a blank new page. Click edit, and then sections themselves make up how the page is structured. Okay, so we've got our different sections. Blank section starts you with nothing. Save sections we'll come back to because I'll just show you how that works. Then we've got a bunch of different options and categories here. So all of these you can go and use. Think of this as placeholder content that you can then change and move around. So for example, if you were to take this one, but you wanted the image on the left, you can just do that once you've just added that in. Again, there are other sections which have the blocks in to start with. You can just have a quick look around, see what takes your fancy, and then use this to start building up your page. So let's go and do that. Let's start with this big banner in at the top. Then let's have one of these. But to start with, I've just spotted that this divider and this image are not quite working. So let's just edit section, turn the divider off. That just looks a bit better to start with. Then let's just work our way down the page. And let's just see what takes our fancy. Oh, great, some FAQs. Let's put that in. And then just noting that in previous videos, you'll have seen where we can just edit the section, change the color. So we could do something like this. Let's keep going. Let's maybe put a contact form in there. Great, something like that works nicely. Let's just change this over. So I'm just going to click and drag it over these. Drag all of this over to that side. Click and drag this over here. And then noting that I'm just bringing it that bit further over from the grid. So we've got that in there. Then let's see what else we can do. Oh, so yes, the people sections, for example, is a great thing to go and note. So spot this eye sitting over the top here. This doesn't work in the traditional block formats, but it's got some extra content that's sitting under the hood that you can go and use. So sitting under here, you then have this edit content ability. So you won't see this add block like you can see on this section. It works in a slightly different way, which is great. So clicking this, you then have the ability to change everything all at once. So I could turn all the images off. I could then add a button for them all. This works great for, let's say, meet the team pages. Then I could, again, drag and reorder these like that. I then have the ability to change and add all of this in. Just noting that if you do toggle something off, then inside of this area, then you won't see it. So if I turn the image off and I turn the button off, coming back into the content, it then hides it. So you're only seeing the items that are available to you. So just something to be aware of. We'll just turn that back on just so we can see everything. And then inside of design, you can then change the layout itself. So we've got simple list. We could change that to be a carousel. We could do a whole heap of different things inside of here. So changing the number of columns. This infinite scroll for this example is actually pulling through the same content and just allowing it to repeat. So if you obviously had more content, then it's just being mindful of the number of columns that you have. But that is what this infinite scroll does. So we've got that. And then we have this adjacent slides, which then just shows it a little bit peeking out. So giving a bit of visual interest. Again, you could toggle that on or off. The style, you can do a whole heap of things inside of here, including cards, which then sticks this background on it. You can change and reorder lots of different things. You could change the actual buttons, the arrows to be like that, or again, you could turn them off. So there's a whole heap inside of there that you can go and do. Let's just show you the style. So we've done that, then size and space. Then you can, again, adjust lots of different things all inside of here. One thing that I do find is really interesting is if you've got some text that is longer than others. So let's just do a real speedy demo like this. So this one's longer. And then you think, oh, I'd quite like all the buttons and everything else just to be lined up. And so some maybe, have more than others. Then what you can do inside of no, not that one, the other one, inside of here, you can change the position to be this one, which then vertically aligns all of it. So you get the buttons all sitting at the same height. You then have the card in this example coming right to the bottom. It's just a really nice, neat way of being able to use that section. But you can also use this in a completely different way. So what you could do is you could turn off the image and button. So you just have this. Let's come back and turn the card style off. We'll change the number of columns down to 1. And we're going to use this for a testimonial. So let's also just come into here. Not quite sure what's happened to the other button. I'm sure it will resolve itself. So you could do something like this. And then you can use that as a testimonial. And then you could keep going, put something in the next one, and then keep going, etc., etc. And you could then adjust the size of this text. So inside style, again, you could change it like this. You could do a whole heap of different things. Let's say you wanted to make it a bit thinner. Then you could do this sort of thing. Anyway, you've got a whole heap of different controls available to you, thinking about sections in a slightly different way. And then you also, under here, so under images, you can then use this as a gallery. So again, spotting that eye. This then gives you the gallery option. Again, extra controls and functionality sitting here that you can go and do. But then with all of these sections, you can then duplicate them. You could then do it as a saved section. So again, it keeps the content that is on the screen, but you can save it and reuse it for something completely different. I say completely different, as in on a different page, you could then have this. So what you could do is have this set up to say, title goes here. Let's get rid of that block. And then I'm going to keep reusing this for all of my headers. For this example, I'm actually just going to make the height small. I'm going to slightly increase this. So I might have this coming into the center. Pressing G on my keyboard, I'm just going to check because I'm going to save this. So actually I've got 3 here and 2 at the bottom. So let's go here, 2 at the bottom and 2 at the top. Before I save it, I'm also going to check mobile because in this example, then I would have actually saved it looking like that. So I want to save it in the middle here. So now I'm happy. I've got something ready to keep using. I'm going to now hit saved section. So that's now saved. So if I was to come onto another page and pretend with me, we're on another page, we can do add section. I can then click here and then I could go, title goes here. And then that comes and inserts it, and it inserts it with the same content that I have put in when I went and saved it. So it can work great for whether you keep reusing this as a mini template for yourself, Or if you want just to save something and then you might want to bring it back or just use it somewhere else. Again, you can keep it with the current content, hit the heart and do that. So you've got lots of different things to go and think about and use in terms of sections, loads of functionality available to you. So there we go.